What's up, Mets fans? Chente Camacho here. I'd like to say thank you guys for tuning in to Bearded Mets Banter. On this week's episode, I have a very knowledgeable Mets fan, Manny S, as I know him from Twitter. I will share his handle in the upcoming episode where I pick up mid-conversation with Manny. As I like to do now, I like to get my people talking a little bit about the Mets before I start hitting them with my questions that I have for the Mets. Always 5 questions for some of the best Mets fans I know. And to all new viewers and returning viewers, again, thank you guys for tuning in to Bearded Mets Banter. I'm your boy and host Chente Camacho Jr. Before we get started and going, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead and click on that button right there. Do what the little doggy's doing. And hit the bell for notifications when I drop new material. Guys, the 7 trainers right there. Let's jump on. We out. Let's go Mets. It's Bearded Mets Banter time.
This is a Mets Willits Point bound 7 local train. The next and last stop is Mets Willits Point.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
To see Lindor hit a home run,
Yes.
and look like he was relieved after hitting that home run.
Yes.
Maybe that relaxes him a bit,
Yes.
and he gets less pressure. He puts less pressure on himself every time he goes to the batter's box. We're hoping that's the start of something good for him.
Yes.
Hey, Maben finally got a hit, as you saw.
Yes, a dribbler, but nonetheless, that
Okay.
baseball's funny like that. Baseball's funny like that. You struggle, and then you expect the first one's going to be a bomb or something, and no, it's a dribbler down the third baseline.
And the thing was, the game before that on Thursday, one of the second game of the doubleheader, he hit a couple of BBs, and he got out.
Yeah.
And he hits that little, swinging bunt, and there's his first hit. But
That's
it's nice to see. But what I really like to see from this team is that camaraderie that they have. They seem to be very close knit.
They're cheering for each other. It feels like
Absolutely.
the 2015 team in that sense that they're like rooting for the next guy. Like, yo, you're gonna do it. We got you. Next man up. That's the mentality right now.
It's refreshing to see. It's
is.
really nice. Dom Smith may be hurting at the plate, but he's still going to be cheering you on.
Yeah.
Same with Lindor. He's always been, the first guy on the top step to greet a guy after he hits a home run or scores a run. And it's and then Taiwan Walker. What a steal he's been, huh? Another fantastic.
I'm like, let's get Walker early on in free agency. This is before I was like active on Twitter, because I started being active on Twitter maybe like February. I started tweeting a lot more. I'm relatively new to Twitter. When it comes to Twitter, I'm a little bit illiterate too. I'm still learning the whole platform because I'm a Facebook guy. But when it came to Taiwan Walker, I was like, this is a guy that can fill out the rotation. Like somebody that's going to give us games. He's going to give us a quality start. I wasn't expecting this type of stuff out of him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he would be definitely the prototypical 5th starter,
right?
The type of that will give you a couple of good starts and then a couple bad starts, up and down. 8-8, 9-10 type of guy, 4.7 ERA. That's what I was expecting, not what he's done so far. And if he could keep that up for the rest of the season, oh my goodness, it would be the greatest $7 million the Mets have ever spent.
The Mets have spent. Yes, I was thinking this. I was going to take you took the words right out of my mouth. But in all fairness to him, his season last year, he had a really good season in the short season. He put up some decent numbers. His ERA got lower. So that, for me, I'm taking that as a sign that he actually made a turnaround in his career. And maybe this is the guy that Seattle drafted, because Seattle drafted him, right? It was Seattle that drafted this kid.
He was a first-round pick.
This is probably what Seattle saw. This is what they envisioned. Every team loses a guy like this. It happens every once in a while. So I'm hoping that this is a guy that the Mets are going to stick around with. We signed him for 1 year, right? It was a 1-year deal.
Actually, it's a 3-year deal.
No way.
3 years, $23 million. I looked it up on Sports Track last night because the guy that I was sitting with, another guy that you should follow, some guy named Vinny Oliva on Twitter. I was sitting near him last night, real cool cat. And we're talking about his contract. And I thought it was a 1 year as well.
I thought it
And he
was
said,
one year,
no.
yeah.
And he said it was 3 years. And then I looked it up, and sure enough, it was a 3-year contract. First year, $7 million. I think second year, $10 million, and then this third year, $6 million, something like that.
Wow.
But 3 years, $23 million. And if this is the type of production you're going to get, not just this year, the next 2 years, it's the bargain of the century.
Of the century. And we're not known for that. The Mets are not really known for having these savvy deals made, on a guy that everyone passed on, and he tends to do well. That doesn't happen for us most of the time. That's not something that happens to us. So like you said, it's refreshing. It's good to see this guy come in and pitch so well. And essentially he's proven that he deserves to be in his rotation when we get the big arms back, and he's made he's definitely made his case. And like, jumping into questions that I have for you, I have 5 of them. And the first one is, I want to segue into the question. Remember right before we signed Pilar, VR, Almora, Fargas, and Peraza. Remember that we signed those guys in like a span of a week. It was in, I want to say, late January or mid-January when they started making these moves. And a lot of the fan base questioned these moves. And when it was brought to the attention, by some of the other fans, like, these are depth moves. These aren't moves that are going to push us over the top. No one really expected these guys to do what they're doing at this current moment for the Mets. So my question to you is, what were your expectations coming into the 2021 season for the New York Mets?
Well, my expectations were, I guess, once they completed the Lindor trade and they got Carrasco as part of that trade, I was thinking this team is a very strong wild card contender and possibly could contend for the division if all things broke right for them. I figured they would be very competitive. I figured maybe an 85 to 88 win team would be a realistic win total for the team as they were constructed right after that Lindor trade. And then the moves that you mentioned, as far as the depth moves of VR and Pilar and Almora and so on, those are the type of moves winning teams make, to have those type of players in their roster, glue guys, so to speak, right? Glue guys.
Yes.
You need guys that appreciate their role, accept their role, and not say a word about it. Mm-hmm. Be professionals, and these guys are 1,000% professional in what they do. And those are the type of guys you need. Of course, you need superstars, you need great players, but as you might find out, if you put up a team of nothing but superstars, it's not going to work, because everybody's wants some piece of the pie every day of the week. You can't have that. You got to have egos checked at the locker room, bring it to the field, and play like a team. And this team right now, the replacements, as I've heard people call them, they're just incredible. We know they're not going to keep this up if, let's say, the rest of the players that are in the IL stay on the IL.
Right.
This won't last for much longer. We have to enjoy it for what it is right now. But once we get our players back, little by little, those replacements then become what they were supposed to be, bench players and spot starters. It just makes the team even that much stronger. But kudos to them. Kudos to Luis Rojas and the coaching staff as well for managing this team right now with all these players on the injured list.
Yes.
Could have easily had just said, oh my gosh, look at our lineup. I mean, we can't, let's just do our best and hope we win one game a week or something like that. But they are their asses off.
Yeah.
Winning more than losing, which is just such a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it really has been a pleasant surprise. You're saying that, and that to me, it's like a sort of understatement, because it's been a roller coaster ride with these guys, right? And the fan base is acting as if we're in last place. And when you look up, we're like 5 games over 500 and first in the division. Granted, the rest of the division is struggling. And just to add on to your kudos, Jeremy Hefner, he has to get a mention. What he's done with the pitching staff has been marvelous. We've all been worried about the bullpen, and every point that you made on that, Manny, is spot on, man. It's refreshing to have fans like you come on and speak like this so other fans could hear this and they could understand, like, things aren't as bad as we might hear. No. And that's the thing. And I blame a lot the media, these writers, and that's my aim with this. I want to get people out there that can, like, listen, it's not that bad. Woosah, breathe. And your demeanor, the way, like, your energy matches that exactly. That's the vibe I get from you. Like, yo, chill, relax. We winning right now.
That is the way I conduct myself on an everyday basis. I'm as even keel as you can get, I guess.
Yeah, you have to. You gotta. It's a life is a roller coaster ride. You just gotta be ready. You gotta take the bumps with it. It depends on how people react to it. And like I said, your energy. I'm a big energy guy. Yo prendo mi palo santo. You know what I'm saying? I'm really big on vibrations I get from people. To some people it sounds weird when I say that because people don't understand the way I come off. But I'm a really big energy guy, and I feel your vibe through this whole thing and through Twitter, the way you conduct yourself and everything, brother. And it's really my pleasure and honor to have you on here discussing Mets baseball, bro. Let me just get that off right now, man.
Hey, thanks, Chente. It's my pleasure and honor talking with you, my man. Ever since I got connected with you on Twitter, it's been awesome back and forth between us. It's been great,
brother.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Let's jump into question number 2. And this one, we're looking into the Mets now. Are there any minor league players in the system that really intrigue you right now? And I want to add a little something. Let me just throw in a little something to you, because I know you don't fall for the curve. You knock the curveballs out the park. Which one do you see the most ready that can help in the next? I'm not going to say this year. I want to say in the next season and a half. Well,
I think somebody that they could call up right now would be the kid. I believe his first name is Thomas and Sapucki.
Okay. He's a pitcher, right?
He's pitcher in the AAA level, left-handed pitcher. He's been pitching pretty well as a starter for the Mets. He could have been a call-up last year. There was talk about him being called up, but they never brought him up. He could easily be a fifth guy, or even if they decided to go with a 6-man rotation, with the 6-man being your bullpen game type of thing, where they may use, I'm thinking you could use a bullpen game every week and spell one of the guys in the rotation, skip a start for them, give them extra rest, and use the bullpen game as that 5th starter every week,
right?
Something like that. I don't know, but Thomas Sapucki is a name that may be mentioned more as the season goes on, especially if Carrasco suffers any more setbacks with his comeback. Syndergaard also, if he's not able to return,
right?
Because right now he's probably not going to be coming back till August.
Zapucki's a name that I'm sorry to cut you off. Zapucki's a name that I actually heard when DeGrom and Walker went down. You know how they went down kind of back to back?
Yeah, just to be like a spot starter.
A spot starter, yeah. I heard that name mentioned then, and it's interesting that you mentioned him now, because with Syndergaard and Carrasco having minor setbacks, now you bring him into the fold. I can see why you see this guy coming up, being called up.
Yeah, he's the most ready right now, as far as the starting pitching is concerned in the minors, and as far as position players, I wouldn't. I've heard some talk about the third baseman that they drafted a few years ago. Have you heard of Mark Vientos?
Big kid, big boy.
V-I-E-O-S, yeah. Power
Exit
back.
velocity boy. He hits the ball hard.
Kind of like Pete Alonso on the other corner.
Yeah.
He's the third baseman. Maybe he might be a first baseman in the future, but if JD Davis doesn't work out, he should be coming back soon. But we have VR. He's been holding it up very well.
He's been holding it down. He really has.
But as far as holding it down, I said holding it up. That's
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
If you just don't know what's going to happen between now and September, and there may be more injuries on the way. This is a guy, I think, on the position player's side is the most ready, I think, because he has the most minor league experience, I believe, out of the players that are the most ready. And he could hit some bombs. And I wouldn't be critical of the Mets if they brought him up for, just to check him out for a little bit. And then in the future, of course, we all know about the great catcher that's coming up in a couple of years, Francisco
That's my
Alvarez.
favorite. That's my favorite one.
He is. You can just see the video of the guy. He looks like he could play right now in the majors.
Yes, bro. He's only 19 years old.
It's crazy. He just turned 19 this year.
You see his body? He's like
amazing.
a pudge. He's like a little Ivan Rodriguez.
Oh,
not as wide, but
no, he is solid.
Everything. Yeah, he's solid. I tell you what, man, I've never in my life ever wanted to leave the Mets as a fan. But if the Mets ever traded that kid, I'd highly consider leaving the Mets as a Mets fan, bro. Because what I see from him, like I've never seen from a catching prospect in our organization. This guy doesn't seem to just handle the bat well. He seems to play his position well. The way he works behind that plate, his arm is incredible. The way he frames pitches, he still needs to work on a little bit. But just the way he sets up behind the plate to frame the pitches, he's already got the footwork down. I've been watching this kid like religiously every day, bro. I'm watching for new highlight reels of him. The kid is the real deal, man. He's good. He's really, really good. And like I said, bro, I'd be really disappointed if the Mets were to include him in some kind of deal. Now, I'm really scared of that. And I want to segue into my next question, saying the word trade. Coming into this now, like, I'm going to use certain scenarios. Certain guys don't come back from the IL, position players or pitchers. I don't want to say any names, but let's just say we have a shortage somewhere. Do you see any moves the New York Mets can make to help them become a stronger team? Is there a piece out there? Is there a player that you would like to see the New York Mets add possibly to help this team reach that level that you saw before the season, 83, 88 wins, that could put us in that division leader category?
It would have to be, I guess, I think your guest last time mentioned it. Chris Bryant is the guy thinking of. The gentleman that you had before me, I forgot his name again.
Daniel.
I believe he mentioned Chris Bryant, and I would have to agree with him. And it's just for not only for the fact that he could play third base, he could play the corner outfield positions too.
Yes, he
so
can.
you could still have VR on there playing third base, or JD Davis. But if you have Conforto still hurt and Nimmo still hurt, you could have Bryant playing one of those corner positions. And he plays the corner positions, at least left field. I don't know if he's played right, but he could try. He could dabble out there.
I thought I saw him playing right a couple weeks ago.
Oh, he has played right.
I believe I saw him in right field a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so he's more than adequate as an outfielder. Yes. He's shown that. He has a solid arm as an outfielder, and he's right now having a very good offensive season. He's had a bit of a renaissance, so to speak, offense this year. Last year was a bit of a down season. The year before that as well. So I guess he's built up his trade value. I don't think the Cubs are really looking to re-sign him, to extend him. It doesn't seem that way. You would have thought that they would have done something by now, but they haven't. So I think they're more in tune. Even though they're playing well, the Cubs are playing well now. They're in first place right now, tied for first. Let's see what happens in a couple months, and it's come late July when the trade deadline's about to approach. Let's see where they're at as far as possibly being a seller rather than a buyer. And if they're selling Chris Bryant, the Mets should listen and should provide an offer, as long as Francisco Alvarez is not part of the trade.
I do not want him part of any trade.
Or Ronnie Mauricio as well.
There's three. Okay, I have it's PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, Mauricio, and Alvarez. Those for me, those three are like I don't want to say this, but that could be our core. That could be like, how the Yankees had Posada, Jeter, how they had those guys down there.
Yeah.
We can possibly have something like that down there with these guys. And you can even throw, I don't know how to say it. Is it Batty? Brett Batty?
Brett Beatty, I believe.
Beatty?
Yeah.
And that kid
I
too, Vientos as well, but
I would throw in Matt Allen. How about Matthew Allen too?
Matt Allen, yeah.
Even though he's getting Tommy John surgery this year, at least get that out of the way now.
And
so
JT
by
Ginn
next
too.
year,
JT Ginn is also yeah, he was a first round talent. Yeah. And then he went to college and got hurt.
He could be a guy that the Mets could call up this year too, since you mentioned it. Yeah, JT Ginn. He has a relief pitcher.
Has he been pitching well in the minor leagues? I haven't been keeping tabs on JT.
I've heard some things. I can't say for certain. I've read things about him here and there, but he projects to be a relief pitcher, I believe, at this point. And he was drafted from college. The college players, as you know, are closer to being a major leaguer once they're drafted than those who are high school.
Ginn was originally, I forgot who drafted him out of high school. He was drafted out of high school and he opted to go to college, but then in college he got hurt. Mm-hmm. He had a Tommy John surgery. Okay. So I can see why they would transition him to the bullpen. He doesn't have that starter's arm anymore. Yeah, man. I mean, I everything you've answered for me has been like so spot on, and I can't express it anymore. Like how knowledgeable our fan base is, and I'm so happy that I get to share this on my platform, and that you allow me to share this on my platform. And I just can't say it enough, man. You know what I'm saying? Because we get such a bad rap. Like I read it, like it's not just Twitter. It's I'm on multiple face group member groups that are Mets driven, and the negativity and anger I see on there. So to get to chat with someone that has a similar take and a little more knowledge in certain areas is really refreshing, and it's good to get out there to people. People need to see this, and that's what I'm trying to push with this. And to segue into that, into the fans and stuff, I want to go into my fourth question for you, my brother. With his struggles offensively, and he, it messed with him on the defensive end a couple games, but his defense has been fantastic. Excuse me, Francisco Lindor. Are the comparisons to Jason Bay fair to Francisco Lindor just 3 months into his Mets career?
Those comparisons are, I would say, unfair, and that's an understatement, because come on, this is only his second month as a Met. Jason Bay was here for his full 4 years under his contract, and no offense to Jason Bay tried his damnedest to be as good a ball player as he could. It's just once he became a Met, the level of play just went right down, fell off a cliff. Oh, but the guy played his butt off as a Met, almost broke his neck once, I think, when he tried to make a diving catch in Dodger Stadium, jammed his head against the fence.
Yeah,
that type of hustle should have been appreciated, and I appreciated that from him. I didn't take it out against him. I just, it just didn't work out. It's one of those contracts I mentioned. These free agent contracts, for the most part, when the Mets sign a free agent, more often than not, they don't work out, unfortunately. And that was one of them.
Remember that one, 2002 season? Alomar,
Burnett.
I mean, what we did.
Alomar
sold us this dream, and it was just the Wilpons in action.
It was fool's gold, Chente, fool's gold.
That's exactly what that was.
But with regards to Lindor, you can see the intangibles at work with him. I mean, we understand, we're not stupid. He got paid because of what he can produce offensively as a shortstop in a premium offensive position now. Back when we were little kids, shortstop was not an offensive premier position. It was glove, bat, right.
Yeah, shortstop hit 240, 250.
Yeah, have a home run and 30 RBIs and call it a day, call it a season.
And won you a gold glove or contended for one.
Right. But nowadays, shortstop is a premier offensive position. That's why the Mets paid him the money. that contract doesn't hit till next year. This year he's on the arbitration deal
Right.
that they agreed to. It's still 22.5 million, something like that, or 23 and a
Yes.
half he's paid this year. I understand we didn't pay him to be a leader, but he's doing that. He's a leader. He's a guy that's been a mentor, I'm sure, to some of the younger players that have come up just recently, and also a mentor to some of his younger teammates that have had a couple years major league experience.
Mhm.
He's been a great guy in the clubhouse, great presence. He's playing, with the exception of a couple plays this year, he's had a couple errors. He's played, Gold Glove caliber shortstop this season,
Yes, sir.
which, valuable. I just know his hitting is going to come around. It's going to come around. He's too good a player. He's in his prime. This is not Carlos Baerga, 1996,
Nope.
where the Mets got him, and again, his skill level just fell off a cliff once he became a Met. He was already past his prime by the time the Mets got him. I think Lindor has some very good years ahead of him. I don't know about years 7 through 10 of the contract, but I think for the first 6 years of the contract, notwithstanding the first couple months that have happened with the paltry offensive numbers that he's had,
Right.
Notwithstanding those, I think we as Met fans, when the contract is mostly completed, we will be happy. And I think, God willing, we'll have at least one World Series trophy thanks to him in part.
I'm inclined to agree with you on him being able to deliver us at least one World Series trophy. I do see it happening. And as you mentioned, he is too good of a hitter to stay this bad. And the one thing, if I could tell you, like watching, because I watch it like I know it's gonna sound kind of corny, but I watch it like a player because I've played, like I started playing baseball when I was 4 years old, all the way to the age of 18 is when I stopped. And then I stopped and I essentially started playing again this year. So like, something was missing. Like I love baseball, but I see it differently. When I go to the game, I'm trying to think what the pitcher's going to throw the hitter, and that's what I'm telling my wife. She's sitting next to me and I'm like, curveball. My wife is like, what are you talking about? And then curveball happens and she looks at the screen. She's like, he just threw a curveball. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, how did you know that? And I was like, I'm seeing how this pitcher is working this guy and how he's approaching him each at bat. And she's like, that's weird. And it's like, no, it's not. I just analyzing. I'm watching this pitcher, and the best time to hit this guy is on his second pitch because he's starting each guy with a curveball. I forgot who it was that I was watching that it was pitching this game, but he was from the Cincinnati Reds, and it was a wild game because all night, all 5 innings, I was calling his pitches, bro. I was calling I swear my wife is in the other room. I would bring her here if she wasn't watching her shows, but she could vouch for, bro. I was on this cat. I was on this cat.
By the way, was she watching novelas or
no? No, she wasn't. But yeah, getting to your thing with Lindor. Sorry, I'm rambling, but it's just like I was feeling that for a moment. With Lindor, the last like 10 days, I want to say, his balance at the plate has been much better. Like his swing and misses don't look foolish anymore. It's like he's keeping his balance. And I noticed it in the Rocky series. He struck out on a slider the pitcher threw him. And he had mentioned in that game prior in the presser that he was seeing the pitches better and his timing was coming, but he was having issues with the breaking pitches. And when he swung through the breaking pitch that he struck out on, he stood so still and the follow through went all the way around. And I looked and I was like, he's almost there. And sure enough, when he timed up that home run yesterday, and I was like, he is getting there. He's about to break out. I have a feeling it's going to happen soon. It can happen. This is the weekend. I have a feeling it can happen. I think his breakout is really, really close.
And, Chente, you're right. With regards to your analysis of Lindor's most recent plate appearances. So, if that's what you're seeing, most likely what you're seeing is going to happen and what you are thinking, that he's going to bust out. And when he busts out for 2 or 3 weeks, look out, because the Mets will increase their lead. It's by the way, they have the biggest lead out of all the division leaders in Major League Baseball right now.
No way.
3.5.
At 3.5.
3.5. Wow. Nobody has larger lead in the majors right now. So what a 3.5 game lead could become 7.5.
Yes.
But this road trip is going to be a tough one. That's
it's
coming
important.
up.
Coming up. We have some tough games coming up, man.
They got the Padres next weekend. That's going to be a real telling series for the Mets. I'm hoping they could split it. I hope they could split that. I think it's a 4-game series.
4-game. That's the West Coast trip, right?
Yeah.
It's the famous June West Coast swing. They always do it around this time, this June. They always go out west.
Yeah, they got Arizona and San Diego, I believe, and don't recall what other team, but the San Diego series next weekend.
It's funny because today's my 15th wedding anniversary.
Hey, I tip my cap to you and your wife.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I remember when we were married, our honeymoon, we went to Cancun, and it was in 2006. And remember that run they went on in 2006 in the West Coast swing, that they just went out there and they just started smacking everyone. I'm hoping that these 15 years anniversary could bring that same type of energy, that we could go out west and win some games, man.
Deja vu.
I hope so.
But if you're not in Cancun, so have some Coronas at least.
For sure. And
or some Dos Equis.
Yeah, I like Dos Equis too. I'm a Victoria guy myself. I like Victorias. Those are a good Mexican beer, really good Mexican beer. Victoria's outstanding. I don't know if you've had it before.
No, I have not, but now I'm going to check.
It's really, really good. Victoria. Corona's good, but Victoria's a step up for me.
I see.
Just to segue into the final question I have for you, my brother, and my Mets enthusiasts and my baseball enthusiasts. What is your message to the impatient fan base that is expecting everything in one shot? What as the even keel Mets fan and the even keel guy that you are, Manny, what is your message to us Mets fans, or not me, or the Mets fans that are impatient, that are expecting the world in one moment?
Okay. Well, I said I'm even keel. Sometimes I get a bit critical of the Mets. I mean, but I keep it respectful,
right,
as far as criticisms are concerned. If you look at my Twitter account, I sometimes get critical of Rojas. I become critical of Lindor and such, but I keep it in line.
Always, and I commend you on that. You really do. You always, it's respectful from you. You are a gentleman, though. That is a fact.
So, for those who are impatient, who want Lindor out of town, think he sucks, think he's the second coming of Jason Bay, those who have harassed the McCann and Yamamoto families, either you stay patient with the Mets, or become a Yankee fan, or become a fan of some other team, because the Mets don't need you. But if you still want to stay and be a Mets fan, remember, baseball is a marathon. It's not a 16-game season like in football, where if you're 0-4, that's it, you're done. Your season is over. You just have to, I hate to sound cliche, but you got to take it game by game, series by series. As long as you win most of your series, you're going to make the playoffs. Remember, I heard this somewhere. You're bound. Every team's bound to win 50 games. Every team's bound to lose 50 games. It's what you do with the other 62. Mm-hmm. So if the Mets can get at least 40 wins out of those 62, you know what? We're a playoff team.
It's a 90-win
and just be patient,
baby. Let's go.
Just be patient. You got to be patient. And look at this. They're in first place, largest lead in all baseball. And how can you think that right now this season has been a disappointment? It can't be. It's not a disappointment. If they were 15-30 right now, yeah, I think we'd have a very different tone about this Bearded Mets Banter.
For sure. It'll be a different conversation altogether. It'll be a different set of questions.
Yeah, that's right. Like how many games longer do you give Luis Rojas or something like that?
Exactly. Or when is this guy going to sell the team? Crazy stuff like that. Like, did he really right investment? Yes. He have all this money? Yeah. We would look at some crazy stuff for sure.
Is this the best that $2.4 billion can buy you? That type of thing. But just be patient. The season is we're past the quarter pole, as they say in horse racing. And things can only get better because we should be getting reinforcements from the injured list as soon as this week. I mean, Alonso should be back. Lugo should be back, which is going to be tremendous. The bullpen as it is right now is just like, forget it. If you put him in the bullpen, or you could even have him as a
spot starter,
or he could be a starter in a bullpen game, start the first 3 innings, and then you get your Sean Reed Foley's in there. You put Jacob Barnes in there, and you get Castro. It's there's so many interchangeable pieces in that bullpen that you could use in bullpen games. But we got the reinforcements coming. JD Davis hopefully will be back within a week or less.
Yes, sir.
Don't know much about Nemo's injury. I mean, he has that nerve in his finger.
It's bugging.
He may need surgery to correct that situation. Wow. I don't know. I mean, it's not getting any better soon. You would have thought it would get better. It's not getting better.
And it was off the at bat, right? That he swung and he was just. I remember him shaking his hand, and he was just.
Yeah. And now he can't grip a bat still, so
that sucks.
I see it as being a surgical procedure that he may need in the near future. But I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on YouTube or on Twitter. But that's just what I'm thinking.
Right.
But anyway, Mets fans, be patient. It's a long season. We're doing well. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets. Yeah, as always, Manny. This has been a pleasure, bro. And I'm hoping that we can have a follow-up again later on down the road, and we can be having a different conversation as far as like a great lead in the division. Hopefully we could be discussing Cy Young, talk about DeGrom. Maybe Lindor turned his season around and he's hitting all these home runs and carrying the team. We could be having a great conversation to pump the Mets crowd up even more. And I hope I could get you on board on a future date. As of right now, my brother, is there any way that people can find you on social media? Plug your Twitter, if you have an Instagram, anything like that. This way people can connect with you. If people want to catch up with you, where can we find you?
All right, Gente. The only place you could find me will be in Twitter. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Instagram or anything like that. Like I said, I'm very low tech. My handle is at MMS0272. Feel free to follow if you want. If you don't follow, that's cool. It's all right.
Follow.
No problem.
You need to follow because Manny is possibly one of the most knowledgeable Mets fans that I have met. And that's what I want to bring onto the show. And I can't bring on every knowledgeable Mets fan, of course, because there'll be like a line out the door. You know what I'm saying? Only the ones that I really like connect with and interact with the most are the ones that I want to bring on, because those are the voices that resonate most with me. Manny, I appreciate your time as always, my brother. I thank you. I know it's a Sunday. I know you have things to do. I thank you for your time, my brother, and thank you for coming on Bearded Mets Banter.
This is a Mets Willits Point bound 7 local train. The next and last stop is Mets Willits Point.